and welcome back to this free week on exploring anxiety. I've not really just spoke about anxiety this week. I feel like I've been doing things generally around mental health, which I'm okay doing that. I've been asked to do a little bit of a talk around journaling tonight, so I'm going to do some things around that. I'm no expert on journaling. It's something that I've touched on in sessions with clients, and I'm part way through a journaling course on therapeutic journaling, but I've not completed it yet. And maybe if there's enough people that want it, I could do a week on journaling and we could kind of go full gusto together and see where it takes us at the end of the week. Maybe do something Monday, Wednesday, Friday so that you can practice. Why not? I'm up for doing anything that people are going to find useful in these trying times that we're in at the moment. And even when we come out of it at the other end. So, first of all, I want to say a big thank you to everybody that's joined me this week. This is going to be the last live session that I do on Facebook. Tomorrow night is going to be in a Zoom call, which I will put the link up after I finish this. I'll put the link in the group so that you can get your head around if you want to join the Zoom. I would really appreciate it if you did. It's nothing to be scared of. It's like FaceTiming really. And one of the good things is going to be that everybody that's in there knows why they're in there, and we're all kind of in the same boat with everything that's going on. So jump in, feel free to come and see what you think, and stop for 5 minutes or stop for half an hour. It's entirely up to you how long you want to be in there. There's no rules. So this is going to be the final live that I'm doing on this week. I will do some more. Just ask me what you want me to cover on. I'm passionate about spreading the word and doing this. I'm not going to lie. I've had more likes on my page, which is amazing. I've had more people joining the free private group, which is amazing. And I just wanted to touch on the fact that if you do join the private group, I will put the link under this again that you can do. It's absolutely free. I don't know whether there's 5 or 6 units in there on the side. There is a free course that's actually in that group as well that you can access. And just use it to ask questions. You can post in there, you can comment in there, you can post memes in, you can ask a question, you can say if something's worked for you. If you decide to start journaling, you can push some things in there and get people to join in with you. It's quite a good thing for some people, not everybody. I need to be accountable. That I know that works for me. It's part of my personality. If I say I'm going to do something, then I will do it. If I say it out loud, I often use my page as an accountability group for myself. I did it with this week of live. It was like once I'd posted it in the group that I'm going to do it, then I know 100% that I will do it. If I just kind of say I might do a week of lives, it won't get done. So sometimes being part of a group of like-minded people makes us accountable. We kind of don't like letting people down sometimes, so we tend to do it more. So if you've got a goal that you want to set yourself, post it in the group. Set an intent and post it in the group and check in, and we can all support you. We can cheer your successes and we can be with you to hold you up when things aren't going that well. That's the whole point. Being part of a tribe or a group is really important, I think, particularly at the moment when we can't get out and be around our friends. We can make friends virtually. We can be part of a group that supports each other. So yeah, thanks for all the likes. Thanks for being with me this week. I've really enjoyed doing it. All the videos will be on the playlist on YouTube. I will upload this one when I finish tonight. The other 3 are already up there. I'll put the link to that underneath this as well. What else was there? Yeah, the Zoom tomorrow night. Join that. I'll put the link in with that. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about journaling now. Some people have spoke about this. I'm not an expert, and for me, there's a few things that I want to say about journaling. I will do some prompts that you can use later on if you're starting your journaling journey. But the main thing for me is that there are no rules. I think if we start to put rules on things, some of us won't do it because there's too much structure, and I don't like structure. One of the things that I've kind of touched on during this week, but I don't think I've spoke too much about it, is our life script and the rules and stories that we make up around certain things ourselves. I know I spoke last night a little bit about that our life script is kind of, it starts by the age of 4, and by 7 and definitely 9 it's fixed. And one of the things that our life script does is encourages us to have filters. I've pulled that face then because I'm not sure how I want to say this, because it doesn't make us do anything. We always have a choice in it. But our life script encourages us to have certain filters. It's kind of like if you're watching a television program and you're sat with your best friend, and after you've watched the film, you come out the cinema and you say, oh, I really enjoyed that film. You know, what was your takeaway thing from that film? I will pretty much guarantee that you might both like the lead person, the star of it, especially if he's a hunk. But you're going to take away different things from it, because we can both be in the same situation, the same time, experiencing the same event, but we will take different things from it. That's how our life story works, because we filter out certain things that resonate with us, things that mean something to us, things that remind us of something of our past. We will notice a lot more than what maybe somebody else will. And that kind of comes into journaling sometimes, because some people like rules and structure and it works for them. Other people like to, freewheel and just wing it and see where things go. So it's about you understanding and learning a little bit about yourself, and that's one of the ways that journaling can really help. But just be mindful and aware of that when you first sit down. You might want to spend some time on picking the right journal. You might just get I've always got notebooks. You might just get a notebook and start journaling, and once you've got it off your chest and written it down, not do anything with it. It's put in the bin. It's whatever it is. Or you might be somebody that likes stationery and buys a designated book and have a special pen and do all sorts of things. It doesn't matter how you journal. It's whatever feels right for you. That for me is one of the main parts about journaling, is that it's comfortable for you. If you sitting down looking at a blank piece of paper is going to cause you more stress and anxiety, then you need to relook at the setup that you've got and the thoughts that are going through your mind about how you should be journaling, because you're the only one that's going to put rules in place. You might, if you Google journaling, there will be certain blogs and things on that telling you how it should be done. But I want you to throw a lot of that away. Just sit down and start journaling. Start writing, do something. And after you've done it for a week or so, then reflect back on it and see what worked and what didn't. It's all about you noticing the thoughts and the feelings that go around everything. So you could start on the first day of journaling, the title, if you wanted to do a title, first day of journaling, and just write down the thoughts that you have instantly around that and the feelings that you have. If you feel like you're out of your depth and you don't know what you're supposed to do, and I'm not sure if I'm doing it right, and all those, just write all that down. It's getting stuff out of your head and on paper. So that's one of the main things, is just be mindful of the rules and the filters that you've got going on around it. And another, thing that I would recommend is to reflect back on it, about how you felt while you were doing it. What came up for you? If you're writing unfiltered, you will be surprised what actually comes up. It's kind of like in a therapy session, when people are in a safe space and they're just talking with somebody. Often we start off and you know, a client will bring a certain topic that they want to talk about. Often we go off topic and something else will come up and we just talk about something completely irrelevant, but so much comes up when we do that. So that's what I mean about not putting rules in place and not being judgmental about yourself on how you do it to start off with. If you want to put more structure in there and feel like, yeah, I'm not really getting this, it's not working how I want to, then that's fine. But the main thing I would say is if you want to start journaling is to just start journaling. Journaling is a form of expressive writing. It's not like keeping a diary. Keeping a diary is, yeah, it's quite structured somehow, and often it's, you know, done at the end of the day. Apart from having, excuse me, appointments and things like that in it, at the end of the day, it's more of like a very structured thing that, you know, got up this morning, felt a bit anxious, went and had a cup of tea, then I had to go and meet my mum, so sat down and we had a chat about flowers in the garden, and it started to rain, so we went inside. That's kind of like a diary entry. Whereas I feel that a journal entry would be more about, you know, if we use that same scenario, met up with mum. I can remember that last time we had an argument and I came away feeling really frustrated about the way that she spoke to me about something. I'm not sure what that's about, but I can remember a time when I was younger that X, Y, and Z happened. And it's more, you know, writing down experiences that you feel, your thoughts about certain things and how that made you feel, and maybe what you interpret that behaviour to be. You know, it could be that I'm feeling a bit, I don't know, distant from mum because last time we spoke she said something and I reacted to it and I came away feeling guilty about it, or whatever it is. So it's more in depth, it's more exploring your feelings around certain things, how you react to things, what your responses are to certain things. And then when you reflect on it, you will start to notice that there's a bit of a pattern to your behaviour, and that's, over time, that's when it starts to maybe impact you a little bit more. And journaling can bring up a lot of things for people, but it can also be quite freeing, because, you know, journaling is just for your eyes. It's not to share, it's not to put out there in the big wide world, which is why it needs to be a safe space where you can just share whatever it is that you want to share in that book, for your eyes only. So yeah, there's no rules, just do it. I'm looking down because I've written some notes down on there, and it gets easier. Give yourself a break for the first week or two. It's going to feel a bit strange if you've not done it before. You're going to try and put some structure around it and some rules around it. Just be okay with that. But the more you do it, the more regular, the more you look back over the things that you've wrote, you will start to just do it naturally. The other thing I would suggest is, you know, to find a safe space to do it, and a space, you know, give yourself some time. If you're trying to do it in between homeschooling when the kids are coming in and out, that's not going to help you. That's going to make you a lot more stressed. So it might be that you do it early in the morning when, you know, before everybody's up, or it might be that you do it at night when before you go to bed, and you sit down, get your nice snuggly blanket, have, you know, your lamp on next to you, smellies if you want to do smellies, whatever it is, and just give yourself between 5 and 15 minutes to just write about anything that you want to do, and structure it however it feels right for you to do it. Like I said, you're the only one that's going to put rules around this. Writing gratitude things can help us sometimes. That can be a good place to start. You know, things that we're grateful for. If you're having to rack your brains about things, then don't do that. You know, if something comes up during the day, and you just get that warm fuzzy feeling, make a note of it, and then you can put that in there. Setting intentions for not just the day, but setting intentions for the week can sometimes help. You know, this week I'm going to be focused on being relaxed more. Try not to do the less anxious, because again, if you're focusing on being less anxious, then you've got to think about being anxious first. So rather than that, look at the other side of the coin and focus on being more relaxed. And then maybe you can write some things in the journal about when you have felt relaxed. So yeah, set some intentions. Look at your mindset where that is. You might notice, if you reflect over your journal entries, that you kind of realize just how negative your thought process is. If you're writing lots of things without filtering, you might get a bit of a pattern going on that, oh, when I'm talking about that person, I'm really negative, or I'm really judgmental. So it's about awareness and not being critical of yourself. It's really important that it's non-judgmental about yourself, because this is just free writing. It's just bleh. It's just letting it all go and putting it on a page, and then reading it back at some point and seeing what came out for you. And you will probably be surprised about what comes out for you. And if it's something that you want to do, set a goal. You know, if you want to do that, then set a goal and, you know, have some sort of aim towards reaching it and see how it goes. Again, it's not being judgmental. So a couple of things. One of the things that I do in sessions sometimes with people that can be quite helpful is to write a letter to your younger self. What would you write to your younger self if you were to, I'm 50 odd now, if I was to write a letter to my teenage self, what would I say to them? And that can bring up a whole lot of stuff. One of the things that I often think, if I was to write a letter to my younger self, probably the most important thing I would say to myself is just do it. Stop putting barriers in your way, because you can achieve so much more than you think you can right now. And that's the kind of feeling that I get around journaling. So reflecting over something can be quite a good one. Writing a letter, you know, to your younger self, and maybe even writing a letter to your future self, explaining, you know, the way that you feel right now, and in the future you can read that, and it is quite emotional. It can be quite an emotional thing, journaling. So I'm just going to read off some of the prompts here. I'm not going to lie, I've googled these. I've got some of these. Some of these are ones that I would use anyway, but just see what fits well with you. So my favourite way to spend the day, you might need prompts to kind of just get your thoughts firing, but once you get into it, if you notice that you're going off track, don't worry about it. Don't bring yourself back to what the title is. Just let things flow. So if we use that as an example, my favourite way to spend the day is, you know, with family. And that then will start to trigger thoughts and feelings around my family that might take me off down a path that I didn't even think would come out using that title. That's what journaling's about. So one of them could be, my favourite way to spend a day is, this one I've just mentioned it. If I could talk to my teenage self, the one thing I would say is, 2 moments I'll never forget in my life. And it says, describe them in great detail and what makes them so unforgettable. So they might be events that have happened in your life that were out of this world, absolutely wonderful. Wish you could relive them over and over again like Groundhog Day. Or there could be events in your life that you wish never happened and never want to go there again. So once we start talking about certain things, be prepared for a reaction and a response to that. It can be quite emotional. So this is why you need to reflect on it. You need to give yourself a safe space in order to do it in the first place, but then you need to allow yourself some time to just get back in the room and just ground yourself once you've finished journaling, because it can bring up quite a lot of things, and it can trigger certain, you know, memories and responses and reactions to things. Make a list of 30 things that make you smile. The words that I'd like to live by are, as soon as I think of things like that, I think of those American pageants where they say, I want world peace and food for everybody and all that sort of stuff. Don't worry if it's not politically correct what you're writing in your journal, because there's only you that's going to know about it. If one of the things my dad used to say, one of his sayings was, do unto others as they would do unto you, but do it first. That would be one of my dad's. So if you've got a motto, write it down. Write down why it resonates with you. Write down what the meaning is behind it for you and how you understand it and interpret it, and just see where it takes you. I couldn't imagine living without is quite a good one. Make a list of the people in your life who genuinely support you and who you genuinely trust. And then, again, see where that takes you. There might be people from your past that aren't in your life anymore that you might want to reconnect with, because they were the people that actually were there with you through certain things and you haven't been in touch with them. So it can kind of encourage you to do certain things. What does unconditional love look like to you? That's quite an interesting one, because often that can bring up for us the things that we need. What you know, that could be another one. What does love mean to me? How can somebody show me love? How do I feel loved by somebody? What does the other, as in whether it's a child, a partner or anybody, what does the other do that makes me feel like they love me? The more you get into this, the more titles you will come up for yourself, because it'll just feel right, and then run with it and see what happens. I'm just going to have a look because I think somebody's commented. Evening, Jackie. This is really useful. Not thought about journaling before. We can do this in the group, Gemma, if you fancy it. We can do some prompts. I have actually, I can post a link under this. I've done, I think it's like a week's diary journaling thing with some things on affirmations and gratitude and spaces for you to write things in. But it's not something that I can just post in the group. I can do a link so that I can send it to you, or better still, send me an email and I can do it via an email and send you the link if you want that. I really wish others knew this about me. That's, again, is quite an interesting one. What would you want somebody to know about you that maybe you keep hidden? What would the authentic you be like to somebody? Because we always put on a bit of a face to people. If my body could talk, what would it say? Geez, mine would probably say a lot. What can I learn from my biggest mistakes? Maybe one of the first things you could write is, what are my biggest mistakes? What do I feel are my biggest failures in life? And it's about being totally honest with yourself. And that can be quite a difficult thing. And if you can't be honest with yourself, then while you're journaling, say why you feel you can't write that down on paper. My darkest, deepest fear is that somebody would find this and find out who I really am and how I really think and feel about certain things. So yeah, just be honest. Write the words you need to hear. In a relationship, if you're talking about relationships and things, what would you want your partner to say to you? It's one of our relational needs is for the other to initiate something with us. So maybe one of the things that you would like to hear, I don't know. I'm not sure what I would like to hear from the other person. What do I want in a relationship? Just go with the flow and see what happens. The other thing that you can do with journaling is, you can doodle. You'd be surprised what comes up with a doodle. Put some music on and just see what happens. Draw a picture. It's not about being a good artist or making it make sense or anything. You might read back over something that you wrote a week ago and think, I have absolutely no idea where my head was then. None of this makes any sense to me. But in that moment, it did. So go with the flow. No rules. It's only your rules. So no rules, no judgment. And also when we reflect on it, which I think is an important part of journaling, is not to be judgmental when you're reflecting on it either. It's about building awareness about yourself. That's one of the main things about journaling. So yeah, just give it a go and see what happens. There are some. There's a, what do you call it? An acronym. Yeah, they're like prompts, and it's write as in WRITE, and it says the W stands for what do you want to write about, which again can be quite structured. So just go with the flow. The R stands for reflect on it. The I is investigate your thoughts. Allow yourself time. Set a time. You might think 5 minutes is enough. You might want to do it 15 minutes. And the E is for exit, as in how do you end the journaling or the time that you're spending journaling. And that, as I said, that's quite important because you might need to ground yourself. You might find that things come up that you wouldn't ever imagine come up. They always say have a drink of water with you. Make sure that you're hydrated. If you're snuggling in a blanket, just once you put the pen down, just give yourself a few minutes just to relax and let the thoughts go on the page and stay there, because it can be quite emotional. So I hope that's given you some food for thought. As I said, I'm quite happy if people want to do this. We could do, a few days on journaling, and I could put something up as kind of like a groundwork, give you some prompts so that we could all just spend 15 minutes writing. There are journaling groups online, which I've not been in one, where it's literally like this. There's a Zoom where people go in, they can have their cameras on, and they just kind of write, this is the title of the journaling, and they will just sit quietly on a Zoom call and write things down for 10 or 15 minutes and then leave. And it's just a safe space and a commitment to yourself that you're going to do that. You can find groups local to you once this is all over where they do journaling. Scrapbooking is another thing. I quite like scrapbooking. You might have a card off somebody that you got when you were a teenager that you kept, that you suddenly come across, and just write about your thoughts about that card and the person. Literally. Rosie, very helpful. Thank you for talking through it. Not a problem. The main thing is just don't put too many rules in. Make sure it's a safe space. Use whatever material you want to do, whatever book you want to do. Make sure you're not going to be interrupted, and just see what happens, and then reflect on it over the week. See what works, see what doesn't, and just be you. Hi, Julie. I wish I had done some journaling through my life. I have been a different person to different people, and will continue to be. I joke with my hubby that he can get bored with me, as I will be a different person this time next year. Yeah. I have a card that I have kept. Wonder who's that off. Yeah, we are different people at different times. I think I said it earlier on in the week. My understanding on life in general changes. Who I am now will not be who I am in 6 months' time or 2 years' time. I often think that, when people write books, I got halfway through writing a book and I keep saying I'm going to finish it and I've not done. But if I write a book now, then in 12 months' time when I read it, my thoughts and feelings will probably be completely different. My awareness will be completely different. And I'm not sure whether I want something written in concrete. Because a lot of the books that I've got behind me were written years ago, and I'm not sure those authors still feel the same way about the things that they've written, which is quite interesting. Love the idea of scrapbooking and using photos to look back at positives that have happened. Yeah, my house is full of photographs. It's my thing. All my kids, whatever, if it's my birthday or Christmas or anything, you can guarantee that somebody does something around photographs, because it's a snapshot of where we are in that moment. And I don't think you can't go back and replay that. Our memories are good, but they do tend to fade as we get old. But if you do take photographs, one thing that I would say is write on the back where it was, when it was, and who was in it. Because I've got so many photos from my family, you know, not me, because my memory's not failed me yet, but, you know, from like my mum and dad's side of the family. And there's people on this that I don't know who they are. So if you're going to do it, write it on the back. The other thing I want to say while I'm doing this is that printing pictures off is something that we don't tend to do anymore. This is where all my pictures are. This is where all my videos are. This is where everything is on my phone. And I used to love looking through a photo album and talking to my mum about where were we when that was taken, you know, who's that in the background and what were we doing. Whereas with social media, that's where it all is now. And if Facebook ceased to exist, where would we all be? That's a scary thought. See, this is why I'd be quite good at journaling if I did put my mind to it, because my mind just flits from one thing to another. It's I get easily distracted and my train of thought shifts from one thing to another. Pretty instantaneous. So just don't judge it. Just go with the flow and see what happens. If you want to doodle on the margins and have nice felt tips, and you're an arty, I want to say arty-farty type of person, that's not meant in a judgy way, but if you're an arty person, then do that. You know, spend some time decorating the page and making it look nice for you to use your pen on it and put your thoughts on it. It's entirely up to you as an individual how you do it. And keep it safe. You know, find a nice box or a nice place for you to keep it and get it out, and make it kind of a special time for you to do something. And, you know, like what Julie said, it's really good. I wished I'd kept diaries and things at certain times to look back over where we were then, and, you know, where were my thoughts. Look back at happy times as well as not so happy times, and understand that, you know, at the end of the day, you've come through it. Whatever you were going through 12 months ago, you're sat here in front of me now and you came through it. And what were your thoughts then? What got you through it? So yeah, thank you, Rosie, for asking the question, because I've quite enjoyed talking about it. And maybe I'm going to go and get a journal. I have lots of friends that spend a fortune on stationery. They will spend upwards of £30 on a journal and spend a lot of time doing it. It's part of the self-care. So yeah, give it a go and see what you think. So I'm going to go now, and I will put the link for the private group again. I will also put the link for tomorrow night's Zoom so that we can go on there. And if you've got any questions, email them to me. If you don't want it to be on this open page, then send me an email, jackie@jackiejones.co.uk, and we can talk about it tomorrow on the Zoom. If you're not going to join me tomorrow, then I just want to say a big thank you for being part of this week. And I will be back, but, you know, this is the start of our journey together. It doesn't need to be the end. Hop over to the free private group and we can still connect in there, because it'd be lovely to keep this going. Okie dokie, I'm going to have my tea. I've not had my tea yet. I can't believe it's 8:05 and I've not had anything to eat. It's been a busy day today. And it's Friday tomorrow, folks. We're getting closer to the weekend. My next podcast is released tomorrow. The second part of my chat with Nicky Cullen, which is a bit of a sweary Murray, but I love him. And he's got an Irish accent. So it's worth listening to it just to listen to an Irish accent. It's also on YouTube as well, so jump over to my YouTube channel where all these videos will be on a playlist, so you can catch up and watch them in there too. Okie dokie, if I don't see you, have a good weekend, and thanks for being part of this week on Exploring Anxiety. Speak soon.